Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the ESL One Battlefield 4 Winter Cup number 4. It's been a long week of waiting and we are back now with our next cup, and I'm joined for the first time this season by none other than Lauren Scott.
Hi. Yeah, it's been a while since I've had the pleasure of casting Battlefield, so I'm super excited to be back and actually getting a chance to do so. I've got a lot of catching up to do looking at this season, but I've got my trusty companion with me to lead me through the changes that Battlefield has seen since I've actually casted it.
Oh, of course. I mean, we know, like, we've been following along as well, as we often do. We don't get to cast all the games, but squad obliteration now, of course, as you're aware, guys, you've been following for the last few weeks here now. Week number 4. So for those who are just sort of new to the format that we do here at ESL One, we have 5 cups, weekly cups, and then we run into a group stage, and through there qualifies our teams for our finals, which is coming up quite soon. It'll be held here at the ESL studios in lovely Cologne. So almost through the regular season now as well. We are seeing some teams shape up as front runners.
Yeah, and I definitely want to check that out, because back when I was casting, there was always one team firmly at the top, and that was Fnatic. But things are seeming to shape up a little differently these days, so I'm quite excited to actually be able to check that one out, which we can have a little look at here. And it's actually not just Fnatic leading the fray by, you know, the biggest margin. You've got Epsilon up there these days.
Yeah, and I think even leading the fray would be pushing it by a great deal. Fnatic only making one grand final appearance so far this season. That was in Cup number 2, losing to Epsilon in 2 straight maps.
Wow.
Penta have been up there. There's no doubt about it. They also had their grand final berth against Epsilon in our most recent cup. But as I said, Epsilon flying high, 3 cups in a row, looking to do exactly what Fnatic did in last season.
Yeah, and it's really good seeing Epsilon do that. Of course, there's a couple of lineup changes since I last got to check it out, but personally, I'm super excited to see how they form up. They've got some tough games coming into this, and especially that first game as well.
Absolutely. The first game for tonight, we are going to be jumping into an Epsilon one. It will be Epsilon versus Attlas there at the top of the bracket. For those who aren't aware, Attlas is a bit of an amalgamation of players from a few pro teams. Hysteria played 1 cup with Infamous, and then came over to sort of form Attlas. We've got iFrozen from Leisure. Gino's in there from EGZ. He was a part of Benny's lineup at the Gamescom finals for last season. And obviously, you guys can check out those brackets at our ESL One website as well if you are wondering what the go is there. So, interesting match this will be. Attlas getting knocked out by Revo in the first round.
That's surprising, considering the caliber that's in that lineup, because I looked at it and I went, wait, hold on, those guys have only got those many points? They're like down in 14th thus far, which is very surprising. There's some very individually talented players there, at least from back when I recall. So I'm very interested to see how they're now forming up in this lineup, in this roster. I think we've even got the map pool, so I can kind of break into that real quick. I think we've got Siege to start with, Paracel Storm, and then Locker to close out if required. Yeah.
So it'd be interesting to see how that one works out. I mean, Siege of Shanghai, even though it was Atlas's pick, is not a bad map at all for Epsilon. They actually beat Fnatic on that quite handily.
Do they have a bad map?
Not really. If they do, they don't really play it.
Yeah, they always get that kind of first seed. They can always ban out their maps pretty much. These guys are leading the fray by some margin at the moment. Their points are pretty much double, I believe, anyone else in the rankings. Yeah. So you've got to be scared of these guys. But individually talented players can have a breakout day, and hopefully if this team can kind of really find some sort of chemistry there, we're going to see some exciting things at the very start of this day.
The proof's going to be in the pudding there in our first match, and we are waiting for those players to get ready, so we will just go to a break while we wait for them to get their stuff sorted. When we return, we'll be back into our first match of this Cup number 4, ladies and gentlemen. Don't go too far.
hold on. See, I'm rusty. It's my fault.
It's all right. We definitely a grace period there for a line. Thank you guys for joining us here at the ESL One Battlefield 4 Winter Cup number 4. And we are ready to jump into this game pretty much already. Epsilon chomping at the bit to get it started against Attlas.
Yeah, they are more on point than I am with the audio, so they are ready to rumble. So apologies. It's been a little while since I've been here casting Battlefield and generally casting from here at all. So take it easy on me, but then review me later. After the show, maybe. After the show, just not during. Anyway, as you said, the teams are almost ready, so we can get ready to jump into the map itself. If I can do that right. Drum roll, please, ladies and gents. Oh, we made it
beautiful.
I'm proud of myself. Alrighty.
Absolutely beautiful. All right, so let's jump into this one. Those that have been following along will be pretty familiar, of course, with how Siege of Shanghai tends to play out. We will see the bomb spawn here early on, so the US side, the blue side, will at least have their chance to retrieve that one and sort of go from there. And then we'll see what happens around the seaside especially, which is essentially the most easily hit bomb side in the game. So a little bit of an advantage for the blue side. I tend to think so anyway. We see a bit of a trend towards that. But we do have a player drop here from Epsilon, which is a bit interesting considering we were live on restart. So
I think it will be restarting the map, surely, at this point, I can imagine.
We had a crash from one of the players.
So hopefully he'll come back with us. But this is what I wanted to talk about, is kind of Attlas and who they are and why I was really surprised that they were where they were. And it was basically one of the big players that stood out to me was Hysteria. This guy has been there, done that, got several T-shirts. I think it was Planet Key Dynamics, SK Gaming, and then even further forward than that, he went on some bigger lineups as well. It was
almost GC Topper Chat before SK Gaming as well. So yeah, he's been around, no doubt about it. And after he was playing with Epsilon, of course, at the finals at Gamescom in our recent season, the summer season, he did make a brief departure to Infamous. Rella actually left Infamous, interestingly enough. He was always the captain and the spokesperson for them. He left that team, and now we've seen this formation of Attlas, which seems like it's got a... I've seen Lennox in here as well. So
yeah, another big player. There's a lot of very talented players. Frozen as well. There's a lot of people I want to keep my eyes on because these were the guys originally that just completely threw off the likes of Fnatic. Let me just turn that audio down so you don't get the game sounds in the background for a real quick second. But yeah, these were the guys. The French teams kind of came up with that super aggressive style in the old game mode, which seems to have kind of evened out a little bit in this one. They're not so kind of typically aggressive. I think it was the G36C they came out with as well, and the Famous, when it was available, was certainly one of their go-to options, and it infuriated the likes of Easy and such, and those guys found it very hard to deal with. They blamed it on the guns, but I'm going to say those French teams had a lot more going for them. Infamous was certainly a massive contender in that, so I loved that kind of fast rotate style that they used to have, and I'm hoping they still have a little bit of a dash of that sort of flavour, as I left the overlay on for all of that time.
It's all right. At least everyone knows who's playing, though, so that's fine.
God, I'm doing real bad today. Guys, I'm going to get fired if you don't support me, so please send help.
One like equals one prayer for Pansy. But look, things have changed now, of course, with squad obliteration. Famous, obviously, long since being used. Can't use the Scar either. Smoke's being prolific. You can't use sort of infrared sights as well through them. So very much different. However, this aggressive paradigm that we saw back then still seems to prevail, but more so through our American teams like our Dexterities and stuff like that, who really push. And it's teams like Fnatic that only ever have to switch into that aggressive playstyle when playing up against them. So that's that we only really ever see it towards our finals.
And the best part is Fnatic back in the day would only go to that style. I think it was the Brazilians who pushed them to it in the end, and that was at the offline events because no one else, was even able to challenge Fnatic to that sort of degree. But now, of course, with this many teams being able to kind of play it through, understand the meta, and play to this very high caliber, we're seeing a lot of teams going to be able to push each other to that quite aggressive, very fast rotating style. And it's nice to sign a map that hasn't changed too much into this game mode. Let's just say it's still fairly reminiscent of size and let's say structure, but I'm very curious to see where the battle lines are drawn. I think that's something that always really excited me in this one, was how the players used to be so aware and responsive to player spawns, to finding those respawns, and as Mitch is just panning across the sky beautifully. I'm really excited to see how they play this out, because there's a lot of game meta that I'm just not used to yet. I've had a good couple of tries into this, but it's not quite the same, so I'm really looking forward to seeing how the top tier find those differences, the nuances, how much they go for this. Because if you were going to explain the game rules, because I've had a good look through them, because it's not your standard squad obliteration, it's kind of like a refined form of it. As a best of 3, it's a very unique format, isn't it?
Incredibly so. I mean, and it's a little bit confusing. We tend to stumble over the pronunciation or how we sort of describe the scoring system.
It is very difficult, though.
But quite simply, it's the team with the most MCOM detonations over 2 halves is the winner. If any one team gets 2 MCOM detonations in a half, that half ends automatically.
That's theirs. They've got that done. So, okay, so there's kind of like a cap to a half, but if that's not achieved, then you go to the second and you keep playing it through anyway, and whoever wins overall gets the victory. That kind of makes sense to me. I'm kind of getting there.
Yeah. And the one thing we do see that can be a little bit strange as well is that we get our overtimes as well, our stopwatch overtimes. So basically, if it's 2-2 at the end of it, which we often see is the case, then we go to an overtime where over 2 halves, 1 MCOM detonation will end the half, and the fastest team to get an MCOM detonation, that's assuming both of them do get them in their respective halves, will be the winner there as well. So always something to keep in mind as we sort of calculate the one back. But we're almost ready to jump in towards this one. Epsilon should be feeling very confident on Siege of Shanghai. This is our first time seeing Attlas on an outing here on the battlefield. I definitely am looking forward to see how they perform, especially with such a strong roster here waiting in the wings to be pouring out. So we are going to be underway here, and of course, as you guys are aware, bomb will be spawning around here, so we'll see. We probably will see Attlas not even bothering to go for it to start with. They want to secure this C area before trying to push up on it, and I'm going to be interested to see if anything happens over the middle of the road as well. Maybe a firing squad, Jika, trying to light some people up. Plenty of spots coming out.
Yeah, and I'm always looking forward to seeing what Jika can bring to the forefront. He's running with the angle grip as well, so actually looking to be able to utilize that sort of distance with that ace as well. So just a couple of nade smokes going through. They're trying to set up that line of smoke almost to keep that bomb and all the sites that are available pushed back and funnel them into a route where the rest of Epsilon are waiting.
Hunter now pushing out towards the street. There's a couple Epsilon players stacked up here as they do manage to get through. Lussell going to make the way in towards the shop. This is quite aggressive positioning here. They're going to be met in a moment by Hysterias, but he's completely shut down. Horek, always a beast on this map, will be sending him packing. It's a great start here for Epsilon. They're able to move forward, get the bomb. It's just Lennox left here. A couple players with him, but quite a way away to be able to help out. He's got to just hold on and getting pushed onto by Hexus. Going down on Epsilon, putting kill after kill together. They make their push towards the south.
Yeah, and no one choosing to spawn towards Star either. He's being left out to his own devices and trying to pick up maybe some, let's say, players behind. But the 3 players remaining up and standing for Attlas right now really have to do the damage, because that bomb is getting pretty damn close to those MCOMs.
They've had some time to set up at least, and Hysteria now just backing behind a container. Grenades are coming out. He knows where the bomb is. You do get a visual representation of the position of the bomb-carrying player every few seconds as it updates. So they do know the Horek is just sort of sitting tight here behind those cinder blocks. He's made his way up though. Going to be a bit of smoke around now. He doesn't have a lot of cover. He's going to get pushed onto by Star and immediately taken out. Grenades to follow as Mayak might be the next to step up to the plate.
Yeah, no one yet really going to reconsider that bomb just yet. As you noted, Mayak is pretty darn close though, but maybe just holding the angle, trying to pick up a couple of kills, force him on that respawn, which Hysteria is going to fall for. So slowly chipping away at this, and while that happens, Jika then could start pushing up on that eastern side if he fancied it, but it's not him doing the flank, it's Hexus. Hexus is working around the backside here, running with, well, the AEK, so wants to get up close and personal, and he might just get a little bit of that action very soon.
Let's see what he can sort of put together here. There's a few Attlas players set up here on the bomb side. Get down by Hunter! Nicely done, and there should be a bomb plant as you hear those alarms start to klaxon. Now time is ticking away, and Attlas have to gain some ground, but look at this aggressive positioning by Epsilon. They push right up in the middle of their territory here. They're going to try and lock them in spawn.
This is what I like from Epsilon. They know where they're going to respawn. They're so good at dominating this already. Jika was waiting. He had pure faith in this team, splitting himself up towards the north with Horek, and you can see already Lennox getting mowed down. These guys are doing damage, but in the southern side, Hysteria is up, but he really has a struggle on his hands.
That's right. He's going to run straight towards Hexus, who had the better cover, who had the better position, and Atlas now just really need to make a group push. They don't have much time at all. We're going to start to hear that alarm sound, get that much more desperate. And there it is. Time is running out. Jika again with another double, doing so much work here, holding such an important pivot position. There's no way that Atlas can even get out of their own spawn.
Epsilon's setup is flawless. They know exactly where Attlas are going to be, and really Attlas is suffering for this, and Jika again is going to town. That's another double, and they got the MCOM to boot. So perfect play coming out from Epsilon from the very offset, denying everything Attlas wanted to achieve, and now Attlas are just in that meat grind, getting hammered down by that Ace 23 in the hands of Jika, and hell, why not? Throw some other people at it. They have to get through so much to even get further into this map so far.
This is the most aggressive positioning I've seen from Epsilon on this map as well. They're feeling very, very confident to push them back, and it's a lovely little grenade on towards Lussell there by Mayak, and he will hold this position. We are seeing this develop in recent times where teams, if they can get an MCOM down, they will try and stay in enemy territory and leave maybe one player to go back and scoop up the bomb.
But there has been a slight sort of slip through coming out from Hysteria and Star, so those two have been able to get themselves down by that CM com. You've got Horek around the back, though. This man renowned for his flanking ability before, but this time gets caught out. Hunter's not going to fall for that, it seems. But there you go. Hunter's going to back him up, excuse me. But that bomb is making this play towards A. Hexus is going to get that down. He's got cover on the eastern side and on the west. Zika and Mayak doing the work. Bomb is down. This is beautiful stuff from Epsilon. It's just absolutely clinical. They know exactly what they want to do here.
This is utter decimation here, and it's a strong lineup for Attlas, but maybe they just don't have that cohesion yet. They're really not gelling, and Epsilon are just having their way with them right now. You can see this as well. Horek will running in towards 2, and this is Frozen now trying to make his way up with his teammate as well. See if they can get into those buildings. It's Hysteria running forward here. Definitely a man you want to have on point right now, but can he connect? He does. He takes down Mayak over in that sniper tower. He is now on the bomb. No smokes, though. He's going to go be defusing this one cold, as Star and Lussel are going to be assisting, getting some kills, but Hunter, he gets the interruption there as well. You'll have a couple come from his left.
It's a 2v3. 2v3 now. They've got to make it quick already. They pick up one. It's just down to Horek to hold on to this. In the last couple of seconds, it looks like almost Epsilon have got this one done. But there we have it. Closed down in the end. Epsilon, just unbelievable pressure.
Incredible stuff here. And actually, that's one of the quickest second MCOM detonations that we've actually seen so far this season. Very, very swift stuff from Epsilon. I mean, and you said it yourself, we saw Jika and Mayak doing so much work.
Yep. And it's shown in the score, 10-3, 10-2. Those two were just setting up, waiting for the players to respawn from Attlas and then pressure them. They're keeping that kind of ability they had back in the old game mode where they could just kind of dominate the respawns, be fully aware of where they're going to force them to off the back of those spawns and the plants. And they were so set up for it. That's the difference here. Looking at Attlas individually, they're not bad players. We've pointed out several people who can come up very big when required, but that teamwork, that chemistry, that kind of instant setup pressure just wasn't there. The crossfires just weren't in place in time, and it was relentless from Epsilon.
And we've often seen weaker teams be punished for these aggressive spawn-ins as well, and always pushing forward. Sometimes, you know, if they get wiped, it's a very long walk back. They can be set a long way behind the 8 ball here, but Epsilon sort of exploited Atlas's difficulties in coming forward, using people like Jika and Mayak to hold them back in their spawns, and they could continue to reinforce from the rear, but wasn't so far back. They was always spawning in towards the base of Attlas.
And the one thing I really liked was the fact that when Epsilon did push out maybe a little aggressively for some's taste, they were already accounting for the time it would take to respawn in and be back in position in maybe a better spot for defending that bomb plant. So everything is being accounted for here by Epsilon. And already I've got to say, Attlas really needs to step up their game. Hopefully maybe on the second half they could find something out, find a little bit of form here, because that was a real quick close down.
Very, very quick. It was done within 5 minutes, I think. So that's quite quick, and that was honestly, ostensibly, the harder side for Epsilon actually to be starting from here, coming from the north. Can be harder because the bomb traditionally goes over to the southern team, the blue side, because of the position it spawns in. But they weren't able to capitalize on that at all. In fact, Attlas never touched the bomb. They left it. They said, we're going to secure this central area here. And Epsilon flushed them out, pushed through, and then they never left the southern part of the map.
And I even like the initial play that Epsilon brought out where they were trying to funnel in Attlas towards the vast majority of the team. So Zika, I believe, was actually the player doing that, utilizing the smokes, almost creating a wall that says, you don't want to push through this, because I'll literally have a perfect background. You'll be walking through completely obscured vision, so I'd have the advantage. So they tried to funnel them through the buildings in towards maybe this crossfire that the rest of Epsilon had set up. So already you're seeing so many tactics coming out that are just perfectly planned here. I'm looking to see what Attlas can do, though. I'm hoping they find a little something. I don't know. I'm hoping so. But we're going to find out what they can do. Obviously, 20 seconds left. And are they running with an engineer? Is that for the gun choice? I'm kind of curious here.
Normally we see engineer being picked up, actually, to use the law on this wall here.
Ah, okay.
You can punch a hole in this wall. You can actually access that building. And through here as well, actually. So, obviously, players in here, you can open that area up just that little bit more. So, I Frozen opting for the law here. I'd be interested to see how that one actually sort of plays out. This is an undestructible building, so that was not the one I meant. This one here, though. So, a little bit of evolution, not to try and bring any buildings down, but there you go. That first law shot comes in, and now players moving through that shop are not so protected.
Yeah, and I'm interested to see if anyone else uses that smoke star we saw coming out from Hysteria. It looks as though Star's kind of taking the same position, but he's being smoked out himself, and you can already see Zika pushing up very close. They've got the bomb pretty much to hand. Hexus keeping that one close to touch. But now how do they break through this defense that at least Attlas will be able to hold for a little bit of time? Pushed up quite severely. Hysteria's close by. Lussel as well. It looks like they're just kind of taking their time, looking for this opening pick, and not rushing things really for the Epsilon boys.
No, this time it's definitely slow and steady wins the race because Epsilon take early possession of this bomb, and Hexus, this is a very, very hard place to dig the blue side out of as well. Hexus can, has a really nice angle through that doorway. There's also Jika out on the road, and Jika started things off well.
He's actually looking for an option here. They've worked off that pick towards the right side. I'm interested to see if they commit towards it, because that'd be quite the obvious move, and that's not something I'm used to from Epsilon. So they do take down that player on the eastern road, but do fall back. So the one thing I want to point out as well that I started to learn, it's all about denying that bomb possession as well towards the opposition. So the longer that Epsilon have that bomb to hand, the better they are. But there we go, that's a bit of a difference. The bomb's gone down. That could be dangerous. Now we're going to see the opposition finally having a chance, and it looks as though they're running with it already. Lennox finding Horek. That's going to open up possibilities. They're making a mad dash for this one. Lennox leading the fray, but he's going to be picked up on the flank, however, is frozen. He will avenge, hopefully, and we might see this one actually being a little closer than expected.
Almost a full squad wipe there on towards Epsilon, and Hunter actually found himself spawning a long way away as that last man. So Bomb now making its charge towards the south in the hands of Lussel here as well. He has Star on the line right. Lennox also going to be spawning in as well. No smoke to cover their advance here, interestingly enough, so they're going to really have to grind this one out and take it bit by bit. The AEK struggling there to catch on from Lussel as he tries to find that target. He at least gets the spot down, but takes a fair bit of damage, and, well, Epsilon have at least managed to keep Attlas at bay here. Yeah,
and you can see that Lussel probably is wanting almost to carry this bomb at this sort of range, coupled with that stubby grip. It's just not made for this sort of work. You can do damage, sure, but certainly far from ideal, and no barrel to be seen, so of course doing that. But look at this, Lennox going for the play there, and round the south, Frozen coming on the full flank. He's going to catch someone out just on that upper catwalk outside by that B-bomb, or at least the M-com, should I say. Going to pick up Mayak real easy, and that could be a route for Lussel if he can make it past that crossfire.
Well, has he opt to move yet? No, he's still going to keep his head down right now. As Hysteria is just running interference out towards his left. Still Epsilon, a little bit tenacious hanging on right now as Horek just working on this eastern flank here. Going to heal himself up. Use that pillar. Lovely peek there out towards Hysteria. Will take him out, but unfortunately Star trades into that one effectively. It is a lot of back and forth. And Lussel now on the move. Run.
He's trying to edge forward. They're breaking down that mid-control. The smokes are there. Lussel, he's made it towards the M-com. He's going to be playing that one down. He's got the backup of Frozen, a slightly advanced position from Lennox, but there's a 4-man possible retake coming in that could be real dangerous here. They've got the respawn out coming in for Attlas, so it's not the end of the world, but Hunter already doing damage towards Lennox. Jika finding Star. This is looking dangerous. The 3 players remaining for Attlas are the ones on the bomb.
That's it, and there, it's not exactly the most defensible position right now. It's great little peek towards the side by Hexus, to take down Hysteria now. He's going to go head-to-head with Frozen. There's going to be a lot of Epsilon players pouring in onto this side.
Yeah, Attlas have players up, though. They're starting to get bodies in towards that site, and the time is going to be running out. Frozen gets called out by the nade, though. That is perfect work. Hexus as well. The fuse comes in. Epsilon are just doing damage. That retake was tough. You saw how much Attlas were putting towards that. The defuse will be there. They've got the bomb. They're back up and running. But can Attlas recover? They had such an opportunity then. It was so close. They got the respawns in. They committed thoroughly. But sadly for them, Epsilon just a little too strong then.
Nice little passage of play there, but the bomb is back in Epsilon hands, and you can see Hunter already driving forward with this one. This is such a heavily contested location in that rune, and Hysteria is going to take the bomb away from him now. Might opt to pick it up or maybe push forward and do some more fighting here, as Hexus now has to deal with a lot of players pushing in towards him from every angle.
Yeah, they've been overwhelmed. Epsilon may be putting a little bit too much forward, but it looks like Epsilon are going to get the northern spawn here coming in. Horek going to be making his way around the backside, but he's going to go on the flank here and hope that Mayer can hold on. He gets taken down. It's down to Hunter. They've got to slow this bomb down. Revive should come in. So it's not the end of the world, but here we go. There's the cross. 3 players watching it, and you're seeing the flank coming out. The bomb just gets caught in the heels. I think that was Frozen just getting caught up as those players from the northern side, the likes of Horek, will recover that bomb, start trailing it back up there, and the spawns coming out from Attlas are very far towards the north. There should be a complete free plant on C if they fancy taking it, and it looks like Horek is doing just that. And Epsilon are already set up, but 2 players on the eastern flank could make this difficult.
Mayak has a great position there on the east. He's just shut down, well, Hysteria is firstly now, and I think it was Star who's going to make his way through, gets the revive, but this is going to be very hard.
What a beast play, already pushing in, and they're just doing so much damage. The backup from Hex is coming through. These guys are doing serious work. There's nothing to be done at this point. Horek just falling back, making sure there's no back spawns as well, as the rest of Epsilon just plow down the enemy. That bomb is going off, and I do not see any recovery on that one for Attlas. Maybe looking to hedge their bets here, because those spawns are far from ideal.
A double engineer class as well, so we're going to see if they just try and get some extermination with those laws here, but Horek will be waiting. He didn't get the spot actually on the player pushing wide, but this is it. This could be over now. Is Frozen as the last man in squad. He's got all to do, trying to connect those shots, and he will, but it's not going to be enough here as that M-com goes up, and that is 3 for Epsilon over the course of this match, and that's a GG.
That was just perfectly done. You've got to say it was a little closer while I just turn that down for you guys at home. Towards the start of that one, Attlas did have the control there, but the plays coming out, Frozen could never quite make it across. You saw that one moment they had with that plant, and that's what my mind's going to go to constantly now, is the fact they had that bomb down, they had it ticking, it was going to those last sirens when it really started to push up, but then the retake from Epsilon was flawless, and it was down to maybe 1 or 2 kills, but it worked so well for them.
And then off the back of that as well, you see Horek and Mike with such great control over the long street on the eastern side as well. So many teams on the defense try and take that back, and Epsilon had already set themselves up in the shopping center with the escalators, so you pretty much had to go around them at that point, and there was really no way to do it when Horek and Mike, arguably two of the best players on Epsilon, were holding it down so nicely. That's the danger as well. When you take the bomb, I was talking about these aggressive spawn-ins and pushes, they all got killed quite close to the middle of the map. So Epsilon, it was a very short walk back towards that MCOM to get the plant down, and by the time they did, still Attlas were making their way back to sort of to their point A. So not even remotely close really to that one at all. So yeah, that's the way the cookie crumbles here. Map 1 will go to Epsilon.
Yeah, we are just be looking towards, I think it's Paracel Storm next, if I'm not mistaken. Excited by how this one plays out, because this is a little different, I believe, to what I'm maybe a little used to here. So I think while the teams get ready, would you like to go to a break, or should we just crack on, see how long it's going to take them? I'm not sure how long it's going to be on this. But while we wait, actually, this is a point. Do make sure you give us your feedback on today's show. I know I've not casted in a while, so do hit me up how I'm doing, and of course give this guy some love, because he's still pretty new to Battlefield. I know you guys out there are veterans of this right now, back to 1942 even, I believe. So some of you are real old, but no, do make sure you give us your feedback. We always love hearing from you, and if I'm super wrong about something, tell me, because then I can stop being wrong. I always appreciate that, of course. So there you go, down on Twitter, down below.
That's
there.
it. Around
Nailed it.
that area.
Around here.
So we'll probably hang around.
Oh yeah, it looks like Paracel Storm's coming up real soon.
Because we can jump in and have a yarn about Paracel Storm as well. It actually hasn't changed much since Domination.
Well, I was going to say, it couldn't be too much bigger unless they want to encourage a lot more swimming.
Yeah, exactly right. So this is actually two of the maps actually where the change from Domination to Squad Obliteration hasn't actually changed the look of it, although some of these points have changed as well.
Yeah, it looks like the northern side is significantly more open on the US territory, so I'm going to have a little quick look at that, so you guys can kind of sit with me and we can talk through this one. But yeah, looking at the northern side, of course, before it kind of cut off, I guess you could call it the playground area or the basketball net, this whole area is now open, which is something we didn't have before, so some really lush terrain there. I'm excited to see kind of played within and how it kind of works out, and if we see play towards that, because before it was very much cut to the basketball court and that's all you got.
Yeah, so now the basketball court actually represents the central part of the map. That's where the bomb actually spawns here. And really what we always talk about, what we look towards, is these trenches here as well, because they actually pose a very important objective in that. Well, that's where the MCOMs are. So each team has an MCOM placed in these trenches here. And you can see that this one here is quite tricky, because you have to round the corner as an attacking team to actually get there in the first place. Over on the other side of the map as well, this one is actually in more of a straight section. So, a little bit harder, I guess, to defend it as well, because players don't have to, they can sort of peek from a little bit more of a distance and sort of make it hard for you. Whereas on the other side as well, they have to round the corner to actually be able to harass you here as well. So, bit of a difference there as well. Of course, the buildings are destructible. We often do see that Levolution still being a factor here as well. Obviously, the old, we used to have B in here. A used to be out towards the side here, and C used to be up on here. So
high.
Very different.
Yeah, so that's what I'm looking forward to seeing, is how this now kind of changes the dynamic of this map, because it was, I wouldn't say dull in any way, but it was certainly played through and through by this point. So very curious to see how that goes.
All right, well, we're almost into this one now here, and well, we're going to see exactly what Epsilon could do. This is definitely their map. This is definitely one they're generally confident on, so we're rolling out in just a moment and see what they can do. We're going to be looking at Hysterias here. Now, a lot of fighting, of course, over that central court to start things off. We'll see if teams can get supremacy. We're going to see a lot of incendiaries and smokes over this part.
Yeah, so just going to get myself used to how these guys focus this down already. Hysteria will be going in, utilizing that smoke well. He has got the bomb to hand, so we'll make it back to relative safety. I think he's just spotted out a player pushing up towards the court side down by those fences. Nades to follow, not going to catch anyone, but while this happens, on that western flank, Zika has gone up real close and personal. We're going to see a lot more AEKs, I can imagine, on this map, as they are so good in that close range sort of combat area, and already Zika and May are going to get those 2 kills. But the man we saw with the bomb, Hysteria, does finally fall. So
aggressive again from Epsilon. They're really just pushing up here, and I don't even know what can be done at the moment. They're just completely wiped, and they have wiped Attlas off the face of this map already, and that will be an MCOM plant on B, which is very, very hard to retake, being that hill.
And I already love the fact that Mayak is on the flank. This is what I want to see. He's going to get that cross down perfectly. Going to find Frozen, kind of prone it down, make them commit if they want to kill him. That's the best part. He's going to constantly buy time here. He's going to keep 2 players busy down by that coastal side. I think that's going to be Frozen and Hysteria. And the rest of Epsilon just have to sit tight. You got Hysteria, Hexus slightly further back, going to fall to Hysteria as they do break through, but it's not one without the other. They're always trading in favor towards Epsilon.
Star has actually pushed up quite aggressively here, but hasn't seen any Epsilon players. They're all keeping themselves on the other side of this hill. As Horak now just holding things down, takes down Lennox with the ACW, and he will just work around that bomb stack as well. This is very, very hard for Atlas. Almost getting wiped yet again. Only 2 players left on the map. It's Lucille and Hysteria. What can they do? Is Hysteria trying to lead some sort of charge, but he's just not going to have enough time. Epsilon looking incredibly dominant right now.
And it looks like already Epsilon are setting up for that secondary objective. Bomb's gone. They lose 1 player. That's Horak, but he can go for the respawns on the others. Zika is getting set up quite far back here, actually. Looking maybe for when that bomb respawns. Gonna go back in, get that crossfire down instantly. Nice work from him, keeping Frozen real busy. And that's what it's all about. It's just map control coming through here. And once that bomb comes back up, they're going to be back in the thick of things already, though. Frozen going to take control of the apartment buildings, which used to be the central point of this. And you can see that's why they were setting up there, because that's near where the bomb spawns. So it's going to be Atlas having to work from the lower ground up and hope to take the control.
Epsilon got a little bit battered there in that last little passage of play. Went down to only 2 players and were forced to spawn quite far back. Hunter missed someone on his periphery there. He's got to watch his corners as Hysteria's run straight in towards him. The bomb is now in the hands of the Atlas players here. Hysteria is going down on that one. They will try and get a quick plant here.
Yeah, and I thought the signs were already going, but that's for the Storm that's about to roll in here. But great work coming in from the eastern side. The pickups on the bomb side do come through for Epsilon, and that Zika doing the damage. That AEK in his hands is certainly deadly, but already nades being thrown out. Bomb not being touched just yet. They want to clean out these corridors, these buildings, because Atlas has so many members in there, and they've done just that. Only Star was left standing. He's going to get some damage done, but the bomb is back in the Epsilon hands.
That's right. Hex is now with it. He's just trying to clear this area before he tries to run away with the bomb. Obviously, get it over maybe towards C, which would be a great spot here. Not even bothering with the trenches here, which is arguably sort of one of the go-to locations to get that plant down. But Hexus now has to wait for his team to regroup, because we're going to see Atlas coming back over the hill with a few more players as well. It's going to be a bit of a scrap amongst these buildings here.
Atlas just committed a respawn towards those buildings. I'm not sure if that was a mistake or just a real misread of play, because that Storm is now certainly on the precipice here as Hex is looking towards those trenches on the western side. Hunter leading the way, and on the flank it's Horak coming in to lay down the law, lets that fly, picks it up, and already we're seeing Atlas just struggling to maintain Epsilon.
Horak now will just be sitting a bit of clipping there through the wall. He can see some of his opponents there now as he works his way outside. The incendiary going to be doing damage through the wall. That's why it's used commonly. But Horak is going to be caught there by the Ace-23 of Lussel. 3 versus 2 situation now. Bomb is in the hands of Atlas.
Yeah, Hysteria's got this planted. He's going to get that one down. The 2 players upstanding right now for Epsilon, or make it 1, should I, was Mayak. The respawns are coming in. They know where this bomb is. They're good respawns for it. But how well can Atlas get set up here? That's the big question. Star already going hunting, going to try and find some positions within the buildings. He'll find Mayak, but on that western side, it's all about these 3 players.
Let's see what they could do near. They're all set up. You see Frozen and Hysteria. They're trying just to finish one from this point here. Hysteria going down. Bomb still dropped though, and Jinko and the rest of Epsilon need to get across towards this one.
Where's
now.
Frozen? Oh, he's holding the push up there. Real smart play. You can see Zika having to turn his attention towards it, but says, all right, screw it. I'm going to carry on, try and find my own way through. He's going to catch one. Lussel's heels just get mowed down, but that bomb is still ticking. It's going to be the clash on the site itself. 3 players going head to head, but in the final moments, Epsilon are falling. The smoke's down. Surely they can't do this.
Well, the bomb's going to be almost defused by Jika, but the grenade comes straight on in, and that's going to be an MCOM detonation for Atlas here. And good fighting. They're starting to, hit their straps a little bit more, and almost getting a squad wipe on multiple occasions against Epsilon definitely makes it super hard for them to defend that MCOM. Here comes the push again, though. Bomb will spawn towards that center again, and Atlas already setting up in those buildings, getting some good vantage points, getting right up in the face of Epsilon.
It's the fact they have to break back in, and a map like this, if you control that high ground, this is a very standardized split for what we used to see, using the solo and double building. There's so much of an advantage just playing the higher ground, but it looks like, of course, Epsilon know that. They were veterans in the old form, so they're going to be trying to retake those and then keep eyes towards a bomb, because they know they have to cross through here. Frozen, the man trying to take that mantle, is going to catch out 1. Hunter goes down, maybe a little revive to follow. So nice play from him, maybe looking towards B or A.
Bomb in the hand, still in Frozen now. He's not really sure where he wants to go for this one. Maybe B, as he's just in the corner of that building. Once he gets it down, it's really hard to defend for Epsilon or to get the defuse. If they use those laws, it's super open.
Right now?
Yes, he is.
He's doing literally around 3 players. How the hell did Epsilon almost let that slip? I guess they wanted to get him really locked in there before they played retake, but that was dangerous. And It looks as though that'll be dealt with very swiftly, as the bomb will now be back in the hands of Epsilon. They can reset the fight. You can see the 4 players heading towards the northeastern side, maybe looking towards C. If they realise, okay, 3 players have committed here, they get the spots in, they can always switch up towards A. But at the moment, we're going to see a 3v4 maybe kicking out in favour towards what would seem Epsilon's side, as already Attlas are down to just 2 remaining players. Lussell and Frozen were the 2 players towards the west who now have to make their way back through the east if they want to deny this plant from Zika.
Hunter really pushing aggressively up on towards this hill, just trying to keep Attlas back at this stage, and Frozen hasn't yet found a way to sort of circumvent that particular player.
Down. They're going to get that plant in, I can imagine. They've got a good few players up and standing. If Hunter and Mayek stay alive, they're in a very aggressive but prime position to get the cross off.
Well, it's only it's going to be tough, I think. They'll definitely get down this hill while Epsilon are waiting, but it's a good start for Lussell and Lennox now. Hunter and Mayek do hit the deck. Star was on the side, or very close to it, but Zika is defending well. It's only 2 players left now for Attlas. It's Lennox and Lussell with a lot of work to do, and Lennox is no closer than Lussell now. They're just trying to connect and maybe just get some of these shots out together, but there's respawns are coming in for Epsilon. It's going to be very, very hard to shake them off here.
Yeah, Hunter's had to split slightly further towards the east.
Beautiful.
Oh, that pickup towards Frozen. Even after being suppressed, you can see that suppressing fire coming through. Hysteria is the only man alive. Last man in the squad. He knows he can't get this done. He's going to pile in there, but the Lord just denied him in the end, I think. Or actually might have been the gun in the end, but what a play to close it out with. Those guys were just, once again, pretty relentless, you've got to say. I'm kind of curious to see the score kill-wise coming in here between these two, because it wasn't all about the kills. It was about that map control, and Epsilon just being so good at setting up towards the north. But Zika, Hexus kind of leading the fray there, but Hysteria having a much bigger game.
In a pinch, it definitely seemed like Attlas definitely were bringing the thunder, and a lot of those kills were coming out. That one MCOM detonation definitely looked quite convincing. Even amongst all that smoke, we're seeing the kill feed fill up with Attlas getting kills on towards Epsilon players, but they just weren't able to maintain it over the course of the half.
See, I think it was when it came down to the northeastern plant, and once Epsilon had already got themselves set up, Attlas just didn't seem to know how to retake it, especially when players were already dominating the trench side. We saw Mayek up there a couple of times, and a couple of others always holding these really hard angles, and I think all of us know how hard it is to even try and get a secondary shot off when you're being suppressed like they were, and you just saw Attlas finding it very difficult. Occasionally you'd see Frozen do well, or Hysteria on the flank. There was a couple of moments, but none were enough to really warrant them to retake. There was always a respawn. There was always someone there. And it felt a little bad, I've got to say, watching it, because you're thinking, come on, guys, you can almost get it. You're almost able to get a good roundup off of Epsilon, but not the case. However, that was only the first half, of course. We're going back in for the second.
That's right. And now, considering that we've seen an MCOM actually being picked up by Attlas in the first half, should I say, one MCOM here won't actually end the game. It won't end the game. If Epsilon pick this one up, they will have 3. But there is still a chance that for the rest of the half, 2 more can be picked up by Attlas to make it 3 apiece. So that would take us to overtime, essentially. So at least to my understanding, that's how it's going to be working out here. So it is going to take a little bit more now. That one MCOM being picked up by Attlas in that first half is going to be very, very helpful for them. However, 2 MCOMs will definitely be too much to come back from here. That would be 4, of course, for Epsilon over the course of the game, and that would end it. So Epsilon, they need to end the half with those 2 MCOMs to have that sort of unassailable victory.
Yeah.
1 won't be enough to end it.
See, I am still catching up with the game mode here, so you guys at home, be nice. I'm working on it. Hopefully it's not too bad. Mitch is pretty much the expert these days on this one. I'm not going to lie to you.
Isn't that a sad story?
Oh, no, you're doing a stellar job. So I'm certainly enjoying casting this, and you can see a lot more kind of pre-made tactics, I'd feel, is how I look at it a little more in comparison to the last game mode. It was quite hectic, but it was more about the respawns and dominating the kind of, let's say, team control rather than map control. So very excited to be casting this. I'm actually really enjoying it. But yeah, I've got to say overall, if Attlas can come out with the same sort of fire they did in that previous one, are you looking for the Megalodon? Have you seen it, by the way?
The Megalodon?
Yeah, the big shark.
I haven't seen it, no.
No?
I just have. I love to meander around some inaccessible parts of the map pre-game sometimes.
Yeah, so they'll stroll through. But no, you guys at home, if you've ever done the Megalodon Easter egg, it's pretty terrifying. Huge shark comes out of the water and just smashes anything in its way. It's pretty cool.
Wow.
Yeah. I think was it Jack Frags who found it? I'm not sure, guys. You guys out there know. You guys play this game, on the daily. But I did love the hunt for that. That ruined all my stats, though. I'm not going to lie to you, searching for that thing. Anyway, it looks as though the teams are prepared and ready to rumble as Mitch does speed up the observer cam. So back into this one, and Epsilon are starting out on the northern side for the US team. In the south, it's going to be Attlas kicking things off. So already, let's see how this one goes down.
All right, so remember that one MCOM detonation for Epsilon won't be enough to secure them the victory here. They do need to do their due diligence, as it were, and clean this one out in full. Now as Hexus now on that basketball court, he's going to be picked up pretty much immediately there as grenades are thudding in towards that ground. There is the bomb. Obviously the focus of this first passage of play. Last time we did see it be taken away quite quickly by Hysteria, but Attlas weren't able to do much with it.
Yeah, they certainly weren't. So I'm looking to see how they now kind of adapt from the back of that already. Attlas does have the bomb control. Good work coming out from Horek, though, to deny Frozen and Hysteria the runoff. Revive to boot as well. So not in a rush to pick up the bomb then. They knew they had a little time on the respawns. But then considering Zika and Hunter were down, but Horek doesn't need teammates. He's got his own self to just run with. Look at these guys. Normally when you have that high ground, that used to be the point of Crossfire. You'd literally sit up on that balcony to deny the respawns. But now the bomb's off. It's running. It's pegging it down towards A, getting in those trenches. Maybe going for quite the hard plant first of all, but you can get set up well for this. And already we're going to see a bit of a contest coming out here. Horek running into a real dilemma. There's a lot of players waiting here.
Star as well. Star has around the corner to contest this one. Hysteria tries to jump in towards the trenches and it is immediately picked up here. So Star's taking his time. He can't see the planter behind that one. He's going to go for the interrupt right about now. Horek, oh my lord, Horek got the better of him there. That is reactions at its finest, ladies and gentlemen. And the bomb does get planted? No. He interrupted that one there. He must have heard the footsteps coming in towards him. So Epsilon need to clear this up and secure the area a bit more. There goes the plant. They got it done. Now Hunter will just try and sit back and hold.
See, the thing is, there's so many sirens going off. This map is real confusing considering the storm sirens do hit up as well. But as you said, bomb still being worked around here. You can see Hunter trying to make a mad dash for it, trying to just throw his body in towards it, make sure they don't get anything done. But Hysteria is there, and Hysteria is looking to deny this. Diffuse is coming in as we speak. Nades are raining in, but he ducks under that one. Pre-fire comes out, and there we go. Diffuse comes in. Hysteria with the clutch play, going to get that running back in their favor. But the higher ground is currently dominated by Epsilon. They should be able to deny this easy run out with the bomb.
That's right. Hysteria's trying to use the stairs, but he's not picking up too fast. At least he can only show a little bit of his head. But he gets jumped on in there, I guess, by Hexus now. A Star will respond. Back and forth stuff here, but it's only Lussel left on the map. He's got a lot of work to do. It all to do, in fact. It's the last man of squad, and that is a wipe against Attlas. Epsilon will have this plant.
Yeah, and now the worrying factor is that Epsilon can get set up perfectly. 3 players heading down towards the southeastern side could be meeting up with the respawns coming out from Attlas. They're already well prepared for this. Who is that waiting by the containment? I'm not too sure who that is actually at the moment. Just going to be heading them off as they try and make it through the trenches. But 2 players to his eastern side. They've broken through. He needs to turn around and pay attention here because they're about to go in towards the bomb. But he's in the perfect spot for this one. Takes the fight, gets pretty much challenged down, buying time coming through here for Lussel, and he will not get the kill. It's Hexus in the back. Hexus has the chance to stop this. The Lord's coming down. They're trying to spam it out, but are they on the defuse? They've got it. That's brilliant stuff again coming through from Attlas in the last couple of seconds.
They're just trying to take the bomb away from him yet again. They're not giving Attlas any freedom to move here, but Hysteria gets a lovely little double before going down to the G18 of Horek, and that's not too bad at all, but in the process of getting that bomb defused, they've invested so many players that they've actually fallen yet again almost entirely, and will be another plant.
Yeah, bomb is down. Retake time again coming in here. No one's actually set up well to receive at the moment in the southeastern side of things. So Epsilon are going to have to play from the trenches and work their way back into this. You would argue that maybe Attlas can get another defuse. We're going to find out if that's the case here, as already they are starting to close in on that one. That's going to be Hysteria doing the work, but around the corner, 2 players waiting. Takes down another. Maya gets destroyed, but they didn't expect Hexus there. Frozen will fall to him, as does Hysteria. And now this should be a cleanup, but look at this. Frozen is doing what he can. He's trying to save the day. Lennox comes in with a revive, and once again, Attlas doing the work, but time. They got to get that defuse going in. I think they almost forgot about that one. But Frozen should be able to get this one in, even those last seconds.
He will get it finished. Of course, the bomb won't be detonating if you've started to defuse it there. So he had all the time in the world, essentially, after he did start that one. And now it's almost a full squad wiper. It was, at least for Epsilon, forced way back. And this is Attlas now starting to show some teeth.
Mayek's just going pushing on his own, though. He's gone for the pickup, and he gets it. That's the bomb down. He's behind enemy lines. Now he's going to get Hexus respawning on him, but I don't think they realize there's a player just by the playground. But the 1-for-1 trade comes out, but Mayek is still ahead of the curve here. He can pick up that bomb and run with it ahead of the others. That's exactly what he's doing. He's saying, screw this, guys. Get towards A. Get set up now. I'm en route. Pick up the kills, or don't. Leave them. Then they respawn further back. It's perfect. Mayek's going to get the plant down. He does have backup in the form of Hunter and Zika, but Frozen is on the way, as is Hysteria, as is Lussel, and now Frozen going to try and use that Lord to clear it out, but doesn't get the connection he needs. And now it's once again on to retake. Grenade
being thrown now just to keep Frozen at bay for the moment. He wants to use a lure up in close quarters, but it may work against him now. He does have a reloaded one. I don't know what he was thinking there as Mayek just comes flying in towards him, but now Hysteria trying to pick up where his teammate left off, but Hunter will get him from behind as well. So hard to play in these trenches. Enemies can come from any angle. You've got to be so vigilant.
You certainly do. Now, here we go. Time is ticking. And it looks like Attlas is starting to learn this is going to be a very tough one to break in towards. 4 players Make it 5 already set up here for Epsilon. It shouldn't be able to be broken back into. Atlas might need to kind of consider the next options now. Maybe think about what they can do going forward, because this one is going to start ticking down fast. Bomb whistles away. Hex is going to try and keep that one close to hand. Will sacrifice himself to make sure it does stay defended.
That's right. Had the law out in front. Didn't really care who would hit. If it hit anyone, and of course the MCOM was blown up there. So there's the detonation. And
this is what I wanted to talk about, is how well they're pushing forward here for the Epsilon side. Already predicting these guys are going to be up in their face, getting the spots down. But the bomb, in theory, it should be manageable for Attlas here. They should be able to get this one done. It should spawn behind them, therefore they can build up off the respawns. But no, Frozen actually going to be committing going back for that. And I'm curious to see where they're going to go. A does have one man by it. That's Horek. B has Hexus. So I think maybe Epsilon are holding back on these respawns to see where they're going to commit to. That's really smart play.
Yeah, they've done that before. Actually, they did it at the spring finals back when it was still domination. They kept Mayak out of the game to start with and brought him in on Zavod wherever they thought they'd need him most. It's not a bad idea at all here in the Storm. About to roll in, about to plant also. 2 alarms might be ringing in just a moment.
Mayak, though, he's on the perfect flank here, but getting suppressed from the upper ground. He's going to feel the brunt of what they were doing to Atlas before. Now, the bomb is planted. This is a very tough one to retake. We saw Atlas struggling with this, but already you can see Epsilon focusing on a southeastern retake. Hunter going to be taking the long route here, trying to get round the back and deny that high ground advantage, and that allows Hexus to do some work earlier on. So here we go. This is the retake that Epsilon are looking for. Spotting out one up on the hill. Going to get that kill is Hunter, as Hexus already supporting as well. They've got 2 players on the split round the back of each other, as Atlas are clinging towards these outsides of the sites.
Oh, wow. Hysteria now doing some work there, getting a double with that A91, and he's set up to defend this one. Does have the law out as well, just to deny any attempts at a defuse here. Going to be a grenade over towards that one as well. He's got shots coming in from every single angle. I don't know if Epsilon, with only Mayak left, can really defuse this one, and I think it'll be an MCOM, yes, going over towards Atlas.
Atlas, where has this sort of play come from? These boys know what's up. Suddenly finding their form on this map 2 being, of course, Paracel Storm, but Epsilon with backs to the walls, how can they now turn this one around? They are certainly far from in the lead here. They're keeping up well, but I've got to say, I'm loving this play from Atlas, really digging in deep in those trenches and bringing this one home for their side, at least for now. But waiting on that bomb to respawn. You've got to say Epsilon is significantly better set up for this, but Hysteria doesn't care.
Not at all. We'll see Hexus as well. He hasn't gone for the bomb yet as well, just wants to secure the area. In fact, not even taking that shot.
He's in a great area. He's got 3 players around him. He's going to give away the game towards one, but you can see just his cover gets exploded, switches up to the pistol, tries to find the player, back towards that AEK, but denied in the end. Gets picked up by the barrel. The bomb is loose, but it will be into the hands of Atlas.
They do have it after a fairly convincing fight, actually, over it. So Atlas still with 4 players going to make their way be towards C, I think, eventually, once they can secure this one here. But Hunter, he's a thorn in their side. Horek as well is starting to do some damage now, just holding this position from behind the containers, preventing any sort of movements up. The law comes straight towards him, it sends him packing. And that's a big investment for that one, though. Star has managed to get rid of him. He's 11 and 10 for this game. We've been in the thick of things. And the bomb yet to go towards A. Again, Atlas want to secure the area.
Can't blame him either. There's a lot of Epsilon players waiting in the wings here. Sheikah being one, of course, Horek the other. That'll allow them to push up a little, get maybe a better hold on this. You can see Lennox just having to go through the fire, being suppressed down thoroughly. But the bomb will be switching its target, maybe looking for other options here, trying to play safe, not allow Epsilon to get the control here, but it is going to be Mayak laying in wait. Look at this guy just hiding like the Megalodon just behind it, but actually no, great play from Lennox, sneaking out towards the eastern side. Mayak's not spotted out yet. He's baffled, he's confused, he's scratching his head, and now I think he's got an idea, like, oh, okay, where's Lennox gone? This guy is doing some ninja work here, but there we go. That's Horek and Mayak doing the crossfire work, just expecting them to try and switch up from A to B, take that southern eastern route, not quite into the trenches, but that will leave it now open. Epsilon with the smart play, not panicking when they lost sight of the bomb.
This is an incredibly important last 40 seconds. Now, if Atlas can get a plant, we will see an overtime. If they cannot, that will be GG to Epsilon. So they must push forward now. Epsilon might want to slow the pace down just a little bit more here. It's Hysteria going towards the bomb. I would never think Hysteria and slowing the pace would come in the same phrase here. But what can be done?
But the problem is that Epsilon have the bomb in the perfect spot. They should be able to create a crossfire. It's going to be Horek around the backside onto 2 players. Spots out one. He's going to find it with Mayak. That's exactly what they wanted to do. Now, sure, there are options available towards Atlas, but they're running out of time and running fast. 10 seconds left. They've got a couple of kills, but already Sheikah running that bomb as far away from them as possible, and it looks like Epsilon have done just about enough.
That is that time will have run out, and Epsilon is going to win this by a very narrow margin here. Of course, their 2 MCOMs in that first half, and the one in this second half will be giving them the win. There was a chance there for Atlas, but they couldn't quite make ends meet when it counted most.
Yeah, I'm really impressed though with Attlas in that second half. They started to find a little bit of what they should have had at the beginning, I feel. If they'd found any of that sort of form in their first attempts, that would have been phenomenal. I'd have loved to have seen that, but it just didn't seem to come through for them. But still, really nice play. And I kind of want to point out some of the things that really impressed me, especially with Epsilon. If I can just jump on this. Here we go. Let's see if I can still do this. This is something I used to do for the guys at home because, I was bored and it was just me solo casting. So you guys now get to see this again with me and Mitch. But, of course, this isn't the same game map. You can tell this is the old game mode. But, as you see, the one thing that really impressed me was all the play focused up towards the northeast. Now, this was impressive for Epsilon at least, because, excuse me while I undo that one, because of how they set up for it. They'd have players setting these perfect crossfire points along here, even if they're feeling aggressive, pushing up towards the northeastern side within those trenches to expect the respawns and constantly pressure anyone trying to come back in across that line. And it just made them so much more potent. And every single time they got pressured by this, they were always ready and waiting. So this is the one thing that I like about Epsilon. You saw it a lot more on Dawnbreaker, but I think we'll be seeing more of that going forward, especially into the later stages of this tournament.
They definitely seem like they're ready for teams to come at them and bring them
Yep.
the very best that they have, and we hope to see them. Of course, Fnatic are on the other side of the bracket, so they won't go head-to-head until the grand final if they both make it through. But we digress now, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to go to a quick break, and when we return, we will be, of course, seeing our second match of the night. We might actually go to the other half of the bracket and see a little bit of what is transpiring over there. I think this first game is definitely, if this is going to be any indicator of the action we're going to see tonight, we have some fantastic games of Battlefield just around the corner, ladies and gentlemen. So don't go too far. We'll be back real soon.